Welcome back to the kickoff. Today, I'm joined by Jacob, Craig, and Josh. And Arsenal really have just come into form at the wrong time for me, I have to say. What a performance that was, lads. 5-1, a game where Arsenal had won one out of their previous 18 attempts against Manchester City. They didn't just win, they destroyed them. Jacob, immediate reaction from you, bro. You must be on top of the world after that.
Mate, to be in a stadium, 60,000 people shouting, Erling Haaland, stay humble, you cunt. You will not top that feat.
That was, you know what? And it's funny because it's sort of a full circle moment, that, wasn't it? When you look at how things have gone dramatically downhill for Man City since that word left his mouth, humble. It's almost to the second. And to have him losing 5-1 after signing a 9-year contract, you know, are you sure you wanted to do that early?
Well, listen, he's still going to win the Golden Boot. Let's not, do you know what I mean? He's still got a lot of medals and he's got a lot of but it's a funny one, that game. I don't know how you boys scored it, but like half time, I wasn't happy at all. We were 1-0 up at half time, but I felt like we were dropping deep. It's almost like since that City game in September, we've got this natural disposition when we've got a lead to play like we're down to 10, even though we're not. It's like they're expecting someone to get sent off. They sit deep. And I said to my mate at half time, I was like, if we continue like this in the second half, they're going to start throwing crosses in the box. They're going to get a goal. What do? Throw crosses in the box, get a goal. And then after that, seem to wake us up a bit.
Yeah, you seem to need a bit of a fucking reaction there.
100%.
Just to touch on the first goal, because that wasn't a one-off. It wasn't a coincidence. In fact, it nearly happened twice in the game where City are playing it out from the back and playing themselves into danger. One time it was the goalkeeper. The first goal, they gave it away and Odegaard tapped it in. What do you make of this sort of calamity defending, Craig? It's something we haven't really seen from City that much, but this season, they've conceded 4 goals or more 4 times this season.
Yeah, when I'm looking at Man City now, I'm seeing no champion spirit. I think the champion spirit's evaporated. They don't have confidence in themselves. Like, even when the game started, I think even before the goal, there was a period there was a little moment where Akanji lost his marker and he was like, I don't know, it was weird. He just looked like he didn't have any confidence. And then literally 30 seconds later, the ball gets passed to him by John Stones and he's like dilly-dallying on it. And then obviously it ends up in the back of the net. I don't know what's going on with them right now. And the funniest thing about it is when Haaland equalised, you thought, okay, this could be on right now. Mm-hmm. Phil Foden gives the ball away in the middle of the park. Partey latches onto it. And then, in fairness, the shot was a deflected shot. It ends up in the back of the net of John Stones. But you could just see kind of they gave up after that. It's almost like they're feeling sorry for themselves now. And I don't remember a Man City team that ever felt sorry for themselves. Like, they always used to have that winning mentality and fighting spirit. And as soon as that goal went in, it was almost like, and then Arsenal really started to play football after that. Like, it felt like Arsenal was sitting back a bit before and allowing Man City to have the ball. But as soon as that second goal went in, Man City's heads went down and Arsenal were really, really up for it. So, there's a massive problem with their defending right now. I don't think the attack's that bad, but at the back, like you said, it's mistake after mistake after mistake. And I don't know if that's a symptom of Pep not being able to organise them or if it's actually just individual errors. But when it's happening every single week, you have to start looking at the coaching as well.
You must be pretty pissed off about this, Josh, seeing what happens when you put the pressure on Man City. Because when Chelsea did apply pressure early on against Man City, City looked shaky just like this, but Chelsea sat off them. Are you a bit frustrated now looking at this?
Yeah, I am, especially after that game. I mean, look, we should have, as I said last week, I think we should have put them to the sword. We could have been 2-0 up and then it's a very different game. It does annoy me that we can't finish our chances. But I think it's interesting, isn't it? Like Man City, they're only getting results against the teams at the bottom half of the table if you look at their results recently. And then you also include Chelsea. And it just shows you how bad our run of form is. But what I was glad about this game is that if this is an indication of how the Man City are going to play in the next few games and for the rest of the season, then absolutely they're gettable. And I suppose that's a sort of the ray of hope. Like, yes,
because you're trying to as with Newcastle, we're trying to catch City and take over them. Yeah. They don't look great. I think they're gettable, and that might sound rich, bearing in mind they've just turned us over. But I'm not that confident for them at all. I think we could get over them. And to be fair, I think if you're looking at other teams like Newcastle, I think you could absolutely be in it. But even Bournemouth now, I have to say,
Bournemouth playing better than Man City? Probably.
Yeah, they are. And with Newcastle coming up to playing Man City, I'm very happy that Man City are playing Real Madrid, Newcastle, then Real Madrid. Like they've got a lot to think about because obviously Champions League is now their only hope this season for a major, huge trophy for them. We'll touch on the 3 remaining goals because as Craig rightly said, the heads went down and they gave up. And the people who capitalised on that, Lewis-Skelly, this little wonder kid, fullback, was so composed for a fullback of his age. What is that like watching him, Jacob, like doing that?
He's not even a fullback, is he?
Well, he's a centre mid. He's been a centre mid his entire career. Like to give a comparison, he's Moussa Dembele. Like that's what I see in him. He's got that drop of the shoulder, beat people in the middle of the pitch, passing, ability to carry. But you play left back for us, you're basically playing centre mid anyway, right? He inverts him, but just like the set of bollocks on him. 18, seriously, 18 years old, right? He gets that ball from Declan Rice. He's there. He's got a striker in Kai Havertz he could roll it to. He could play across. He could look for Ødegaard, his captain. Instead, weaker foot, right foot, he just fucking goes. And that has been what the story is with this kid ever since he broke into the team a couple of months ago. Is he's just got that level of nerve. He believes in his own ability. It's so easy as a young kid to just come in and go, don't make a mistake, just don't do too much, just do what I need to do the job, especially in these like super coach teams like Arsenal and City. But to have that nerve to do that, you know, Margot Haaland with a celebration. I know people are going to go, what have Arsenal won? Look, we've had a fucking miserable season. This kid's 18. Let him have a fucking laugh. Do you know what I mean? Just let him enjoy it.
I love it.
Moment. I love it, man. And it's what I want to see. From young
I want to
players.
see some personality from young players. Like, let them be them. Remember Wayne Rooney? We just let him be himself, and it was fucking fantastic to watch.
This is it.
So,
and it's interesting watching Foden for City, who I think is a player who's been very coached and fair play. He won Player of the Season last season. I'm not like we don't know if Lewis-Skelly's anywhere near that caliber of talent yet, but it's just so nice seeing a player in Lewis-Skelly who, even in an Arteta team that's so coached, weaker foot in the box, I'm shooting. I'm having a go. When the Arsenal forwards are not firing, just shoot. And
probably should have saved it though, shouldn't he? Probably should have saved it. Just
for me though, as a Newcastle fan, lads, as a Newcastle fan, we've got a young player in Lewis Miley who has shown similar capabilities, amazing like striking the ball ability, and yet we're giving him the junk minutes. We're not trusting him. We're not letting him flourish. And even when a player like Joe Linton's having a stinker of a game, we're putting Joe Willock on ahead of him. You're just like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Joe Willock's been finished for 2 years. Like, credit to Mikel Arteta for giving these lads that freedom, that belief, that confidence, and not overcoaching them. We'll get on to the other one, Nwaneri, later, but a quick one on Havertz scoring the 4th goal. He'd missed a shocking chance early in the game. Showed a bit of mental strength there to keep on and stay focused, because he made a fantastic run for the 4th goal on the counter-attack. It was really good, to be fair to him, and he took it away with absolute confidence. Something that, I don't know, I wasn't expecting after the first miss. What do you make of that one, Josh?
I was very surprised that he managed to slot it home. I have to say, though, the first one was really bad. It was terrible. But that run,
really bad.
That was actually something that I remember Havertz in a Chelsea shirt doing very well, actually. Those sort of like dummy runs. And actually, it was very clever when you look at it, because obviously it was John Stones and Akanji back there. I can't remember if he ran at John Stones, but basically makes that overlap, drags the player out, and then gets the shot away. I was very surprised that he managed to get the shot away, really. When he cuts inside and doesn't take it on his right foot, I'm thinking chance probably over.
Yeah.
So again, like, yes,
if he stays where he was, it's 2v2, and he turns into a 2v1, and I thought that is pretty smart.
That is class. And this is the thing though, like, as much as you praise Havertz and he deserves a little moment because he doesn't get many of them, I think that's poor defending, to be fair.
Yeah, they could have handled it better.
He doesn't get many of them. He's got 26 goals and assists since the 1st of January last year.
Mate, I'm glad.
Any of your players got that?
Mate, I love it. I love it that you have to go into yearly stats rather than this season to show how good he is. That's how far back. Do you want to go back 2 or 3 years? Why don't you include the Chelsea season in it as well, mate? Because if you include that, there's a few more goals in there as well.
All comes, sires. All comes. No, we'll go
He's
to
not that
Nwaneri.
good, Jacob, is he? You're trying to find another striker, aren't you?
No, just quick. I'll just quickly sound quiet. I think, and I'm being honest, right? The Ødegaard goal, Kai should shoot. He wants to pass. He should shoot, shouldn't he? Come on, he should shoot.
He's a fucking centre forward,
the
isn't
one
he?
he misses, you can see him looking around going, oh, fuck, I'm going to have to shoot. Oh, no, I'm going to have to shoot. There's no one else I can give it to. He misses.
That miss was
and
so
then the one he
bad.
scores, he runs into a winger's position and scores a winger's goal.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
And ironically, the hardest moment of the game, that was the most difficult of the three, which does kind of sum up where his confidence is. Maybe this will help it. Nwaneri for the 5th goal, cutting in on his left foot from the right side. I mean, that was stunning. I mean, this kid really... I know people are high on Lewis-Skelly, but he's really been doing it for quite a few games now, it's pretty impressive.
7 goals.
Yeah.
He's 17. He's got 7 goals this season.
Freak of nature, that.
It's crazy, man. And I think, again, you've got to credit Arteta for the way he's managed these kids. He's brought them through gently, giving them the right minutes at the right time. But again, it's just credit to the kid. Like, the bollocks, he pulls the ball out of the sky. It's a great ball across from Declan Rice. I also read it's the longest sequence of passes that have led to a goal in the Premier League in the last 4 years.
Wow.
Loads of passes on the left-hand side, big switch over to the right. He takes
against Man City as well.
Against the team, that's their bread and butter. And Nwaneri to just take the shot again. How often have we sat here, Brian, and we've spoken about the over-sterilisation of talent in football?
Yeah.
The fact that everyone wants to take the pass rather than the shot. I'm talking about Kai Havertz, a guy with a Champions League medal around his neck, looking for the pass. Ethan Nwaneri, 17 years old, against the champions, from 30 yards, just look up and pick out the spot. Ortega doesn't dive, because he's not expecting the shot from that kid. I turn around. Do you know what? The Lewis-Skelly one, it was pure emotion. It was limbs. It was madness. The Nwaneri one, it was silence. I just looked around like in disbelief that this kid has done that. Like, the future's bright at Arsenal, man. I think this is going to be a funny season. I think we're going to look back at this season and go, because I'll be honest with you, as good as it was, there's just too much of a gap with Liverpool. I can't see it.
Wow.
But in 2-3 years, in the same way, I look back at when Saka and Smith Rowe came through. They only came through because we gave them Europa League minutes because we were shit, right? I don't know. I think Saka's talent is just unquestionable, but there's other players there who, if we hadn't have been 8th, 6th, maybe they don't break through. I think we might look back at this season in a couple of years and go, you know what? If Calafiori wasn't injury prone, if Saka didn't get that big injury that meant there was space at right wing, space at left back for these two super talents to come through, maybe they don't break through. Maybe they get fed up and need a loan. Maybe they leave, like some of our players have gone to United. Like, but these two are breaking through this season, and for the next couple of years, I mean, even players like Ødegaard, they need to start looking over their shoulder, because he scored today. That's his 2nd goal since April.
Yeah,
Nwaneri's got 7.
Right? Yeah. I think this was a transformative feeling for Arsenal, like winning this game in such devastating fashion. It wasn't just that Man City gave up, it was that they smelled blood, and they proved that like they have that killer instinct as well. And I think this could potentially be something that springboards them next season, because like as much as Mo Salah is just on another level, we don't even know if he's going to be at Liverpool next season. And even if he is, for a man his age to keep scoring this many goals, he didn't even score this many goals last season. He's going to double last season's tally by the looks of it. So like, even for him, this is an outstanding season that isn't sustainable. I think that Arsenal fans, as much as they've been a bit grumpy lately, they shouldn't be too down. Do you know what I mean?
Especially after that last 20 minutes. Like the last 20 minutes of that game, I was watching Arsenal completely bop Man City. Like they were winning everything. They were passing out of situations so easily. And you just felt like every time they went forward in the last 20 minutes, Arsenal were capable of scoring. Like it was actually pathetic watching Man City. I'll be real. Like, how long were those Olays going on for? Those Olays were going on for ages. Like seeing Man City get Olayed like that was like, honestly, I couldn't actually at one point believe I could believe it, because Man City have been that bad. But it was like men against boys in the last 20 minutes. Arsenal just looked better in every single department. And I think it's bad for you saw Bernardo Silva, and I don't really see Bernardo Silva lose his head, but he made a couple nasty challenges. Did you notice that?
Kicks out of Trossard. That could have been red, by the way.
Yeah, he kicked
I will say.
Round.
I like the way that game's reffed. We sit here and we criticise refs. I will just say there was a few elbows from Haaland. There was a bit of pushy shovey with Gabriel. look, this league needs rivalries like this. We need players to hate each other.
Yeah.
We need 60,000 people to call Erling Haaland a cunt.
This Haaland
And
and
that
Gabriel
doesn't
one's
happen.
mad.
But it doesn't happen.
I
if the
love
ref gets
Gabriel
it.
screaming in the face of Haaland, for example. Like that was a hark back to the Martin Keown days, right? Real rivalry. Like we want to care, make us give a shit. Let us know you hate each other.
It's because he threw the ball at his head. Remember in the last game, he threw the ball at his head after they scored.
All's fair.
So
I don't know why people are whinging about this. I mean, obviously, if you're a City fan, fair enough. But like, people
Neville's
going unsportsmanlike, fuck off.
Gary Neville's whinging.
I love
Gary
it.
Neville's saying, I would never have done that. I would never have. It's like, fuck off.
Mate, he was the biggest bell end of the lot of them, but he was playing. I remember him running up opposition fans, screaming at them deliberately to provoke them. Fuck off.
Can we talk about the shithousery as well? Is it true Arsenal played Kendrick Lamar humble at the end in the stadium?
Yeah.
Wow. That is like,
fucking bad, isn't it?
that is like really like turning up the rivalry right there.
I like
That is
it.
insane. And even Lewis-Skelly doing Haaland celebration.
Yeah.
He's
I
18.
can tell they sat on the training ground in the changing room, and really it was like a collective effort to get back at Haaland for what he said to Arteta at that time. And the fans have been hopping on about that for months now. Like you could tell it really bothered them when he did that.
Yeah, it did. And credit to Haaland, by the way. Haaland walks around the stadium at full time, just pointing to the Premier League trophy and the Champions League trophy
Oh, did he?
on his kit. Yeah, and fair fucks, mate. Like, I'm saying this now as an Arsenal fan. That's what I want. This is what we want. Football's fucking boring. Let's be honest. Football's got fucking boring nowadays.
Yeah.
There's not enough competitiveness. There's not enough rivalry. We spend too much time talking about referees. There's no referee chat this morning. It's just hate. And that's what we want. We want hate.
We want a bit of masculinity in this game, right? It's been too sanitised. Speaking of Haaland touching the badge and giving it all of that, is that a sort of sign of, oh, well, we were good in the past? Like, I look at the Pep Guardiola of today and the Man City of today. Look at Kovacic and Bernardo Silva in the middle compared to Partey and Rice. I mean, it's just a weak version of what we once knew. Is this the sort of the end of Man City as we knew it, capped off in one definitive game of football where the team that previously struggled against them notoriously, Arsenal used to celebrate draws against Man City. Let's not kid ourselves here. They've just absolutely wiped the floor with them. Is this a statement for where Man City are at right now?
Let me be the guy that jumps in though. Let me get the Man City guy that jumps in, right?
Craig, can I just say quickly, a little stat on this? This is the first time that a Guardiola side, not just a City side, a Guardiola side has conceded 5 goals and also lost by a margin as high as 4 goals. First time in Guardiola's managerial career.
Wait, didn't we beat them 4-0 though?
But it's lost by conceded 5 and lost by 4.
Yeah.
Well, look, Man City have been terrible. We know that. Like, we beat them 4-0 and we're abysmal. So that just shows you, not to, rain on Arsenal. It was a good win. But I'm just showing you that that's how terrible Man City have been this season. But there's still some, things we got to remember. And we're going to see next season, really, if he can rebuild and bounce back. And I know it's not down to one player, but I think we can all unanimously agree if Rodri was in this team, they'd be higher up the table. I think that's fair to say. I don't know how much higher. I'm not saying they'd be in a title challenge because I think too many of their players have been underperforming. But I'm not even just talking about what he brings to the game in terms of his talent. When you have players like Rodri in the team, it makes everyone else better. Like I saw this week, and I know it's completely different because we were playing Elfsborg in the Europa League. But just seeing Van der Ven on the pitch again after months of him being out, I saw what it did for all the other people in the team and the youngsters and how it gave them that springboard to be a bit more like, there's someone like that behind us. So I think with Rodri coming back into the team, he's a Ballon d'Or winner. He's the best midfielder in the league. Ruben Diaz has been kind of in and out the team this season with injury. I know they've still got enough players to be doing way better than they are. That's not a discussion here, 100%. But I think if Rodri comes back into the team next season, they've got Mamouche. They're definitely going to add more pieces to the puzzle in the summer. It's just about seeing what Pep Guardiola can actually do with a rebuild, because a lot of people have been putting that question to Pep. Can you rebuild a team? We've never really seen you do a rebuild. That's a really big criticism people will be leveling at him. And I think it's a fair criticism to be honest.
It is, yeah.
He always has the best players, the best teams. He's been at the best clubs.
And he's inherited a lot of greatness, right? He's never, this is such a rebuild. And I think that this is the biggest challenge and the biggest question Pep Guardiola's ever been asked as
if
a manager.
He answers the question because he's done everything else.
Do you think he's handling it well though? Like, because when you look at his personal life, like, the divorce he's gone through, and the fact that like he's been with his wife for so long, and then she actually cites football related reasons as to why they divorced, and you see him clawing at his face. Like, he's not giving off the impression that he is going to make this happen. Like, credit to him if he does it, but I'm not looking at him going, yeah, you're going to be fine. It looks like this is having a major impact on him as a person as well.
Yeah, what I was going to say, I felt like barring that where he scratched his face, I felt like he's been putting on a bit of a good front. To be honest, for someone of his standards and how used to winning he is, some of these results, like the PSG result, this Arsenal result, I'd expect him to implode a bit more than he has, but he's putting on a good front so far. But I know it's eating him up inside. Like, this is really, really eating him up because it's the kind of goals they're conceding. Do you know what I mean? Like, you come out against Arsenal, a very tough game away, and then Akanji just does that. Like Dilly's on the ball and you're down 2 minutes. Those are the things that eat a manager up. So I don't know.
No set pieces yesterday. No corners yesterday. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But it wasn't. And I'm not just saying that, but it's not, is it? It's and to be a little bit more tactical. Like, if you look at the areas of the pitch where we were getting them, it was Rodri's spot. Do you know what I mean? Where like Declan Rice pushes on, robs them of the ball when they're playing out. That is what Rodri usually bosses for them. Phil Foden passed through the middle of the pitch in that area where Rodri would usually be. That wouldn't usually happen. Rodri's telling him where the ball needs to go to snuff out danger. Look where Miles Lewis-Skelly scores from. That is the spot where you'd want a holding midfielder stopping a midfielder or a fullback stepping in there and scoring. I think it is right to point to the Rodri thing. At the same time, you know what? 50 minutes they were really on top of us, and I think David Raya makes a good save from. I think it's a set piece. Ball comes over the top, and there's a header. And then there's another good save he makes from...
He made two really good saves that game.
Yeah, Savinho steps in. I think it was Savinho, was it Mamouche? Steps in from the left-hand side, hits it, and it's near post, and it's deflected. Apart from that, in the sort of 50, 55 minutes, they were really on top of us. There wasn't loads. You think of a good City team creates 20, 25 openings usually. And look, we've got a good defence.
Mate, you're talking about Rodri. Let's be real here. That one player does make a difference, yeah, but if that's what you're reliant on, he is not going to get City challenging again on his own, in my opinion.
Foden was shite yesterday. Foden was shit.
Yeah. And then the wingers, I think both are not as good as previous. When you look at the levels of wingers we've seen in years gone by, when Man City just had multiple world-class options to feed their striker, and the defenders have significantly decreased as well, in my opinion. I think that when we say rebuild, I think that's what we mean. In terms of Arsenal, lads, is this a sign of things to come? Do we think they can kick on now if they don't win the league this season? Is this them really the favourites for next season?
You want to go first, or shall I?
Go on.
I think you should lead off, and then we can critique
all right,
it.
I as I said earlier, I'm fucking loving it today. This is a result that means an awful lot to us. I think we've left ourselves too much to do, and I think without Bukayo, I still think there's going to be a couple games where we struggle to break someone down. I'm hoping. Look, we're talking on deadline day. I'm really hopeful of Ollie Watkins. That for me is the exact kind of signing this team needs. That is a smart signing. That is someone who over the last 3 or 4 seasons, outside of Haaland and Salah, has got more goals and assists than anyone. And that is a win now signing. That's a 29-year-old who's ready to come in and just start scoring goals. Even with him, I think there's too much to do this year. Going into next season,
with him, let's say, because if you don't get him, you'll probably go for him in the summer if you don't get him now.
I don't think we will. I think it's now or never for Watkins. I think he has to push through the move. If not, we go into the summer and we're looking at other targets. But I think we'll get someone. We'll get someone. But I'm going to be consistent. I still think there are too many games where we don't have enough ways to score goals. That's my issue. There are too many games where we go to St James's Park and we can't score a goal. Games against we can't break teams down. I still need that question to be answered. I don't want to be negative about Arsenal today because we were fucking excellent yesterday. I'm still looking at our captain and wanting a little bit more. I still remember a couple of years ago saying Ødegaard's the next De Bruyne. Right now, he hasn't taken that mantle.
Yeah.
And look, we're missing Saka, we're missing players, blah, 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 blah. Everyone's fucking missing players. Everyone's got an injury crisis. I don't want to sit here and moan because everyone's Craig can't name a defender for Tottenham right now. Do you know what I mean? It's like everyone's got an injury crisis. I look at our captain and I'm hoping that he's carrying something because That's the only one from yesterday where I'm like, I need more from you, man.
Scored,
That'd be my worry. Yeah, Craig, it's his second open play goal since fucking April. Right, this is supposed to be the heir to De Bruyne. Like, you can't go into next season with that being your guy, your number 10, your captain, your lead creator. You can't go into next season and say we're the favourites for the title when that guy is the hub of your team, because it's not enough. And he's 26, and he's got to be looking over his shoulder at Ethan Nwaneri, who, by the way, 7 goals, most of him in sub appearances. He doesn't give a shit.
He's putting in the shame of it, isn't he?
The only thing I worry about with Arsenal is, right, what next season, what number season is that for Mikel Arteta?
I think it's his 6th.
It'd be his 5th full season.
No, this was his 5th season, surely.
So he came midway through.
Yeah, so technically his 6th Premier League season in charge of Arsenal, but not full seasons, yeah.
Okay. Because, all right, so I thought it was at least a season more than that, so it's not too bad. Because I was thinking, when a project's been going on for this long, and there's no silverware. And I saw it with Pochettino. Obviously, Pochettino was there, I think, almost 7 years. And, we had like 2 title charges. Then we had the Champions League final. And then after that, it all went to shit. And I think that's the only concern I would see there, is that these players have been building in this project for a while, a lot of them. And there's been a few near misses for the title the last 2 seasons with Man City. And then it's like Arsenal was supposed to be the team that step in as soon as Man City faltered, which they did this season. And then Arne Slot's coming out of nowhere. And if he wins the title in his first season and you guys don't win silverware, so whether it's the Carabao Cup or Champions League as well, I don't know if some of the players start looking around and going, we've been in this project for 5-6 years now and we keep getting close and it's not what. How many times can you go back to the drawing board and find that motivation under the same manager when you keep missing out? Because I felt like the players at Spurs stopped believing in Pochettino after a while because it just wasn't coming to fruition.
Yeah. And I think that next season's that time limit, isn't it? Do you think next season's the last chance of that?
Yeah, well, I thought it would have been this season, but maybe it will be because of the young players that you guys mentioned, because the one area has come in, the Lewis-Skellys. Maybe there's young players that can reinvigorate it again and make Arsenal go again. But I feel like a lot of them players in there will be looking around thinking, bro, like if I was at Real Madrid right now, I'm guaranteed something. Do you know what I mean? Straight away. I'm just saying. Like Saliba, if he was at Real Madrid, he's winning something.
So that's the name. That's the name, yeah. I think you called it, yeah, Craig. I think, and look, at the end of this season, by the way, we don't even have a fucking sporting director, but whoever's sitting in that role at the end of this season, they got some work to do because Saka's 2 years left, Saliba's 2 years left, Rice will have been at the club 2 years, needs a new contract now. Ødegaard, I think, is 2 years left. There's a lot of big players who you've got to sit in a room with them. And someone's got to have a conversation with them and go, look, if Saliba and Saliba talks about titles a lot, by the way. Every time he's interviewed, he says, yeah, I think I'm up there, top 3 centre-backs in the world. I need titles, though. I need to win a title. I need to win a title. He can see a big French project at Real Madrid and he can see a spot coming up, right centre-back, taken over from Rudiger. That spot is there.
I'm telling you.
He will one day. Look,
one day he will.
I agree with you. I don't disagree with you at all. I think it's a question of how many more years we get. But this is why I like a Watkins signing. It has to be this year or next year. And we might need to be a Champions League winning team. And by the way, who are Arsenal scared of in the Champions League? If we can do that to Manchester City, if we can play like we've already done against Liverpool this season, Real Madrid are out there and they're a good team. And by the way, we have not got the European pedigree to be arrogant enough to think that we can go and beat a Real Madrid. But when I watch games like that, and I know that Saka's going to be back by the quarterfinals, look, Liverpool did the Champions League before they did the Premier League. And I do think our defensive style actually kind of suits tournament football more than league football, where there's games where we will just not be able to score enough goals. We have to, I will say this now, we have to win something this year or next. That is it now. And by the way, that is me being lenient, saying he's got next year as well, because really it should be this one. I agree with you, Craig. I do think fatigue sets in. 3 years of chasing it. You've finally had your City dip and we haven't capitalised and we've had injuries and Saka's been out and blah, 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 blah. I've watched Robin Van Persie leave this club because he wanted to win titles and he didn't feel like recruitment-wise we were doing enough to bridge that gap. I personally think that was a big thing with Fabregas as well. I don't think Henry saw us reinvigorating a squad enough. He saw Project Youth and he went, look, I'm fucking 28. I'm not sitting here waiting for kids to improve. I need a Champions League medal. You have to convince the Salibas of this world, the Sakas of this world. Saka's different because he's one of ours, but still, you have to convince them that as a club, as an ownership, you're going to invest in their potential for their 24-year-old, 25-year-old, 26-year-old seasons. And listen, a Benjamin Sesko from Leipzig, He looks good, but that's not enough. If you're Saliba, you're not sitting there going, yeah, definitely, man, that's going to get me the medals I need. Like, you need to see, people talk about Isak too much, but like, you need to see an Isak, you need to see a Watkins, you need to see a win now signing come through the door.
Yeah. Josh, you've obviously seen your team do what Jacob's team is trying to do. You got any final thoughts on what he's just said there?
I do think that they're never going to win a title without a proper goal-scoring number 9, and I do think they need some help in the engine room as well. The Partey situation, I'm not sure on. There were a couple of weeks ago that we were saying Declan Rice is massively underperforming, and so I do think they need some support in that area. Without doing that, they don't have a spine of the team, and we've seen it time in, time out. I've seen it at my club and various clubs. If you don't have that spine that sticks together, wins things together, and progresses, then I don't think you're going to be winning titles. Yeah, you can be challenging, but I don't think you'll be winning it. So for me, I actually I'm very surprised that Jacob is going so hard on Watkins, a player that is going to be nearly in his 30s, and quite frankly isn't anywhere near a quality of an Isak. I think they need a Gyökeres, a Sesko, an Isak level player to push on. And without that,
why are Gyökeres and Sesko better than Watkins?
Watkins is a player that will be good for 18 months more, and then in 18 months' time, you'll be saying, "I wish we hadn't signed him. He's too
we need
old."
To win a title in 18 months.
I don't think he's the striker that wins you the title. Quite frankly, a lot of people question this. I reckon John Duran's probably a better striker, to be fair.
Mate, fucking respect Ollie Watkins. What he's done the last 3 seasons, the numbers he sticks up. That's crazy. That's crazy. Look, I like the look of a Gyökeres. The fucking Portuguese league. He scores goals in Portugal. Darwin Núñez scores goals in Portugal.
It's always about age though. Like Gyökeres can get better. I don't know. I think Watkins is as good as he is now.
He's 20. There's
he
18
can still
months
get better.
age gap between Gyökeres and
it's a big that still is a decent amount of time to get him. Like, mate, you do not want 30. We've just seen what Man City are doing with 33-year-olds. They're trying to offload them faster than anyone else.
He's 29.
Yeah, but he's coming along, mate, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Striker's different.
Coming along. He's got no miles on the clock.
Striker is different.
But it's not like
I'm so surprised. I'm so surprised, right, that you've gone from going, we're going to go all out for the next Thierry Henry and Isak, and then you've settled for Watkins. It's a very different level. Very different level.
They've scored the same amount of goals. What do you mean it's a different level?
Mate, Isak, you know, because you've been saying it yourself. Isak is a whole nother ball game to Watkins.
Of course I do. Of
course.
Whole nother ball game. I also know that Newcastle are going to want 150 million quid. They're not going to want to sell to a rival. And if they get Champions League, which they may well fucking do, and we may have even helped them by taking points off City yesterday, there's a good chance he doesn't leave. Everyone wants caviar, mate, but every now and then you've got to accept the next best thing on the menu.
You could get for the amount of money that you're going to have to pay Watkins, you could get awesome.
How much do we think? Can we just do the maths here? Well, let people make their minds up in the comments. But if you were to sign Watkins, roughly, what's it going to take financially?
50.
No way. Aston Villa, no way.
Not after selling Durant.
Villa have just sold Durant, right? So their bargaining power is probably going to be stronger now, am I right? Or
They have also taken on Asensio. They're looking at Felix. They've got the wages of Marcus Rashford on the bill. They need to get someone off the wage bill for PSR reasons. They're 50 million quid for a 29-year-old.
Unreal.
They're never going to get offered that money for
this
him
PSR shit is such a scam, by the way. These bastards got the Champions League.
But they're not going to get the opportunity to get his wages off of their wage bill again. 50 million quid, 55, they have to take that. For 55 million quid, where else he gets 40 goals and assists a season, every season. Show him some respect.
I don't know if he's going to get them this season. I don't know if he'll get quite as many as that.
If he comes to Arsenal, he might. But fucking Gyökeres, a Swedish guy who couldn't get a game for fucking Brighton, who's scoring goals in Portugal. Sesko, how many goals has Sesko got in the Bundesliga? These are maybes. These are maybe signings. These are players who might turn out. Watkins is.
By the way, he's not selling Watkins though. He said they're not doing it.
And he said he needs a big money offer. He needs a big money offer.
For comparison, I just had a little look there. This season, Watkins has got 5 assists. Isak has got 5 assists. However, Watkins has 10 goals. Isak has 17 in the Premier League. So Isak is outscoring him by a large margin.
I'd rather
almost
have
double. Obviously, you'd rather have Isak.
I'd rather have Isak. I don't think he's up for sale.
But it's about the money, isn't it? It's about what is gettable. And I think what Josh is saying is like is this short-sighted, and is this a Man United style signing that like it will be good for 18 months, but then you'll inevitably be thinking,
I really hope they
you're
get
paying him a
Brian.
lot of money. Can he still cut it at the level?
We've sat here talking about teenagers for the start of this show. We've talking about a Bukayo Saka who's 22, Martinelli's 22. Every player at Arsenal is young. We need someone who's ready to go now. Like if you say to William Saliba, don't worry, William, because Benjamin Sesko's coming, he's going to save everything. Saliba will turn around and go, how the fuck do I know he's going to do that?
Okay, good point. We're going to let the comments decide what they would do and whether or not this is a good signing if it does happen for Arsenal. Big love to the boys. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe. We'll catch us on the next one.